What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sunday mornings U.S. time, so come by and say hello. Okay, I wanted to just chat real quickly about something that I don't think is being talked about enough. I've seen it mentioned a couple of places, but I wanted to bring a little bit more attention to it here. Now, keep in mind, this is all speculation because we don't have the full details released yet for the upcoming rewards rework, ranked rewards update. And so basically what I am trying to focus on, or at least what I've been spending a lot of time thinking about, is the fact that there is going to be this incentive to play more. But also at the same time, there seems like there's going to be a disincentive to play less. Now, those may seem like the same thing, and essentially they are accomplishing very, very similar goals. In fact, probably the same goals. But what I'm trying to get at here is we know the one side of it is that there is going to be this incentive to continue playing, that you can get more and more reward chests, more and more reward shares to get more reward chests. And from a daily perspective and from a seasonal perspective, that looks awesome. Now, on the flip side, there is this disincentive to play less. Again, all right, it sounds like two negatives, so it's essentially creating the same same effect. But when we look at this from a seasonal perspective, this is the type of thing that I think is going to curb certain behavior, which isn't necessarily exploitative, but it makes a lot of folks, including myself at times, not play as much as we would usually do, or we think that we need to. So what am I getting at here? Right now, as it stands, I start the season off, I started the season off in, I think, Silver 2 or Silver 1, whatever the case ended up being. I would like to potentially finish in Gold 1 or in Diamond 3. Now, it doesn't matter where you're trying to finish. The point is that if and once I get to my desired rating, right? So here for Gold 1, it'd be 2,500, or Diamond 3, 2,800. Once I get there, I can literally just comfortably sit on my laurels, rent out or delegate my deck to other accounts, and just stay there until the end of the season and be guaranteed anywhere between 30 or 40 or whatever league you're finishing in, guaranteed that amount of loot chests, right? Because I have the power already. It's just either being rented out or delegated, and I already have the rating as well. And as long as I don't play any more games, then I should be good to go, right? So what that is essentially getting at is a lot of people, myself included sometimes, take breaks during the middle of the season. And I'm wondering, in fact, I am assuming and guessing or predicting at this point that we will no longer be able to do that. Now, why is that the case? Well, because I think these reward shares are not just going to be for your daily quest, but they are going to be for your season quests as well. So if I wanted to finish in Diamond 3, for example, and I wanted to get 40 loot chests, maybe the way that it works out is that as I go through my season, that whatever tier, right, whatever threshold I reach for my reward shares will unlock a certain amount of season reward loot chests. So I would need to keep playing at that point in order to get more, because let's say, based on your ECR limiting you on a daily basis, let's say you can get to a point where you unlock over a 15-day season. And you know what? Gold is going to be a good example for this. Over a 15-day season, in Gold 1, let's say if every single day that I play, I can unlock 2 of the loot chests, 2 of the 30 loot chests. So if that ends up being the case, then let's say I grind for the first couple of days of the season, I get all the way to Gold 1, and after 3 days of playing, after 2 or 3 days of playing, farming the nice DEC rewards at the beginning, I have unlocked 6 reward chests. Now, if I go on at that point in time and decide to rent my cards out until the last day or maybe 2 days before the end of the season, then maybe I get 2 or 4 more loot chests at the end of the season, but that's like 5 days of playing versus 10 days of renting or delegating the deck out, which would mean that at the end of the season, I'm only eligible to receive 10 out of the total possible 30 reward chests for Gold 1, right? And now, I'm just using Gold 1 because it's an easy example, but this can be done proportionally for any and all of the other leagues, right? If you only play 1/3 of the season in Silver 1, you only get 6 out of the 18 chests, or 5 out of the 15 chests, or 4 out of the 12 chests, or like whatever case, however you want to look at it, however you want to break it down. So this is what I'm trying to get at, where some of this behavior to rent out cards, right? Some of this behavior to rent out cards or to delegate cards with the type of cooldown that we've been seeing, people will be disincentivized to do that. So what could this lead to? Well, some people will still find that maybe renting out their cards will be, a better use of their time. Maybe they don't want all those season end reward chests. Whatever the case ends up being, people are going to make the best decision that they can for themselves, their schedules, and how they want to interact with the game. The thing is, if more people end up playing, both because they are incentivized to do so, as well as disincentivized to not play, meaning that they want to show up every day and get whatever they can to get, the maximum amount of season end rewards, that ties up even more cards, in my opinion, because then many people are not trying to race to the bottom just to get their cards moved for some quick DEC, right? So for example, I go and I use the Peak Monsters, not bid function, but whatever the undercut function on Peak Monsters is to rent my deck out so that I'm listed as the lowest possible and I just get my cards moved. Well, if you have less people doing that, then there's less people undercutting, and the market tends to then have somewhat of a floor, or at least a more stable floor. So I'm not saying that the rental market is going to explode. I'm not saying that card prices are going to moon. I don't know where things are going to go. I'm just trying to present the data to you and my logic behind how I analyze the data. And those are some of the ways in which I see behavior patterns changing once we get the rewards rework. And then if those patterns of behavior do change, what the kind of collateral effect would be on the market, on the rental cards, and maybe even on like delegating between accounts, right? So that's also been a bigger portion or a bigger issue that people have seen. Although people are playing within the rules right now, I wouldn't necessarily say that delegating your cards to another account and then running things up there is necessarily an exploit. Sure, in the long run, I'm sure the team is really trying to get everyone to focus on playing one account at the highest level. And I do believe that a change like this, if it ends up going through the way that I'm saying that it will be something that curbs a lot of that delegation behavior, as well as curbs a lot of the, renting out your cards in the middle of the season type of behavior. So for example, and I'm going to do a separate video on this in a little bit, but I'm going to take a little bit of a break this season. So I've already grinded to essentially a Gold 1 rating, and I am starting to rent out my deck. I'm going to finish up a Brawl for my guild, and then I'm going to rent my deck out for some time, maybe bring it back for the next Brawl, or maybe just take a Brawl off. Who knows how it goes, but there's 10 days left in the season, or 11 days essentially. Look at this, 10 days and 22 hours. So, at this point, I could rent out my cards for over a week at this point, pull in that DEC, and then just be taking a break. But I am one of the people that right now is racing to the bottom in terms of rental prices. Once that is removed as an option for me, unless I really, really want to, but as a player, if I'm incentivized to play as much as I can and to not play as much as I not can, not that makes sense, sorry, but that's essentially what I'm trying to convey here, is that there's going to be significant patterns of behavior that change in ways that I don't think we're fully pricing in or fully understanding and comprehending. So I do believe this rewards rework is going to be a big shock to the system in a very positive way. Some people may look at it and, have some criticism. Some people are already saying their criticisms out loud, but we don't have all the full details. So again, this is still speculation. I don't know if this is how it's going to be, but if it is, right, and if the focus points or reward shares, however they're defining it or whatever they're calling it, end up being something that contributes to your end of season rewards, then I can very much see this game taking on a whole different look in terms of the amount of people who play daily because they want the rewards. And then for all of those OGs out there, all of those whales essentially, and I don't mean this disparagingly, but the folks who are at the higher levels and are raking in all these amounts of chests then can go and rent their cards out after a day or two into the season. A lot of them won't be doing that anymore. Potentially, right? But I still have a lot of extra cards that I rent out, so those will still be on the market. But in terms of like my main deck, which is a gold level deck, I may not be doing that anymore, right? And then if I need the power to stay up in higher levels, I may not even be renting out all the cards that I'm not even necessarily using. So just something to think about, right? Just something to think about as we go along here. We don't know when we're going to get it. Right now, the estimated date is for the end of the month, which would be not the end of the season, but the end of the season following. So May 30th, May 31st is the rough estimate at this point. I'm going to keep going off of that. So if anything, this is the last season or two that I'll have to rent my cards out. But just something to think about. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next video, and I will see you around the game. Take care.